how to write a paper? Yes, choose or make your figures that are your key to the story. I just mentioned that first write your results and discussion, conclusion, and then go back and start writing from the start. Organizing the figures into order that tells you the strongest story. Yes, arrange it into a narrative. Develop an outline based on this organization. So once you put the figures, once you have what your findings were, then go back and start setting what your problem statement and things like this. Now you start writing your text. Add your references and edit for clarity and completeness. Now use the IMRAD structure for writing a scientific manuscript. Namely, what's the introduction? So in the introduction, you had early research findings versus generating of the hypothesis. We've already discussed this in my earlier slides in introduction. In the methods, what were the details of the population or the study, the procedure and the instruments used? All the details need to be given. Yes, and the results, you need to explain the outcomes and the statistical significance. In the discussion, you need to give confirmation of the hypothesis, comparison to other people's research outcomes. Yes, that's very, very important. And this is called as the IMRAD method of writing a paper. IMRAD, I stands for introduction, M stands for methods, R stands for results, yes, and D stands for introduction. D stands for discussion. Now, summary and recommendations before writing and publishing. You need to think. And what is it that you need to think about? You need to think about the target audience and the level of scientific work that you are presently having. Use the draft, make a draft and ensure that it tells a story. What is a story? It has a start, it has a body, and it has a finish. Don't be abrupt in just giving your results and not making it into a story. Critically review and finalize the abstract. Yes, ensure that your research outcomes are clear and concise. Ensure that your research manuscript has got statistical conclusions. That is a very important attribute. Avoid ethical issues. Yes, take an informed consent from IEC. You need to have a disclosure of conflict of interest. Acknowledgement of funding sources is very, very important when you are writing a paper. Rewrite and proofread for improvement. What is proofreading? Checking, rechecking, getting it checked by your research guide or your mentor, doing brainstorming with your collaborators or your co-authors. Give credit to the ideas, methods, and results of other researchers. Yes, so if you did statistical analysis in your paper, please give credit to the statistician who has analyzed the data. If he had not analyzed the data, you would have not been in a position to publish the paper. So please learn to share research credit. Review the language of the manuscript before submitting it to the target journal. Follow the author's guidelines and format the manuscript accordingly. It will make the editor's job much easier. So what is it in the first step? Preparation of the initial draft. So start the beginning of the paper and write whatever comes to your mind just to get something down on paper, on a computer, or if you're writing it down. Create a completed first draft and then start refining and revising. Yes, now that's fine for now. Okay, at least you have your thoughts on paper. Those words can always be rearranged later by you or your fellow authors. So don't leave it in the air, pen it down, put it on pen and paper, word it down, and then it will start taking its own form. Yes. So here is, body mass index chart that I have taken. So if you see here, I can actually build on, when I'm writing a paper, so I can actually start using as a reference that if from my subjects, I found the following, you know, BMI or body weight with the height. This is likely to be the BMI. So here is a chart for men and women for, you know, BMI of various heights, and find your height in the left-hand column with with reference to the height, and move across to get your body weight. And the number at the top of the column is the BMI for your height and weight. Okay, so, you know, put down your thoughts and do an exercise where it is quite exhaustive. Now look at this paper, beneficial effects of tomato juice fermented by Lactobacillus plantarum and Lactobacillus casei. So they have looked at the antioxidation, antimicrobial effect and volatile profiles of the tomato juice that has been fermented. Okay. Now, if you look at these two graphs, you will find that the pH values are a better representation than the Brix values. Can you see? The Brix values is not such a good representation as compared to the pH values. So try, and once you put down things on paper, you will realize that what is it that is significant that needs to go into the research paper, and what is it that is not significant that need not find its way or mention in the paper. Now, can you see here? The images are quite self-explanatory. And what are these? The bactericidal capacity of fresh and fermented tomato juice. You can see here the saline group, the fresh group, that of the Lactobacillus casei and Lactobacillus plantarum. So the images are self-explanatory. Yes. So you took it out from you know, a particular sample. You isolated it from that particular sample, and here are how the final colonies look like. Yes. So on a lighter note, you know, she's saying, wow, this is a huge effect. And obviously, as a researcher, you are enthralled, you know, when you present your findings with interpretation. Now, briefly describe all outcomes using tables, figures to graphically represent or present the results. I'm sure we've done that in our earlier slides. Yes, the portion of the paper may be brief because your goal is to state the results and not to discuss your findings. Yes, first you have to state your results, and then you can actually, okay, include table or graphs with standard deviations. Please don't do it without standard deviations. They actually make no sense. Now you may feel the data are easier to interpret if presented in a particular manner. So when you look at the paper, you will find that you're looking at the data. It's, you know, this is how it looks better. Yes, this is how it looks better. And that is how you will, you know, start improvising on your own representations. Now, figures tell a story even better in the absence of text. Okay, many of you remember yesterday I mentioned they are all different kinds of readers. So figures will actually tell us a story. Yes, in the absence of a text. Now, many readers will only look at the figures. Yes, and figures should be uncluttered. They should be large enough and the font should be legible. Also, we encourage the use of color to hope, you know, make your figures look better and clearer. But this again are journal guidelines which you will need to follow very, very meticulously. Yes, so you can see the figure says more than what our text would have said. So yes, this pie is eaten, and this pie is that has not been eaten yet. Okay, so the figure, the moment you look at the pie, you know there is a portion of the pie that has been eaten and there is a portion of the pie that is not eaten. But when you try and express it in words, it gets quite explicit, or it could even be confusing. Here, of course, is the cookbook, you know, remedy for putting in all that you needed to carry out the experiments, which is going to come in your methods or, you know, your materials and methods. Okay. So provide a cookbook with the studies ingredients. That means exactly what was needed to carry out the experiment. Okay. So if somebody else had to carry out the experiment, what would they need in the cookbook? Can you just see just about everything is being dropped in? Yes. And in the end, you need to add your collection and analysis. Although it's not so simple, this is to tell you that everything needs to be meticulously listed down. Yes, which is about the materials and methods. So can you see here a protocol has been given here. So exactly similarly, you have to describe it in words when you write it down for your materials and methods. Now here you can see that the figure 1 shows, what it showed has been mentioned here. The juice yield was so much, the initial potato was taken so much, and so on has been mentioned here. Now this means, can you see the legend is so very exhaustive, so very exhaustive. However, if I had put just the image, if I had just put the image, can you see here? If I had just put the image, it was more explanatory or self-explanatory than the text, which may be quite confusing because of the large content, text content that it has. Okay, so the materials and methods should be a tell-all section. They should portray your experiment in great detail. It should outline how you made the specimens, tested the specimens, evaluated failures, examined and scored patients, and so on. Describe your experiment or study so that somebody else can reproduce if they wish so. List all the product names, etc. And of course, the statistical analysis that I have mentioned here. Can you see? Wow, this is a huge effect. So I've kind of used all of this in my summary. This is for the interpretation, for the materials and methods, even here for the materials and methods, and this is for the table and figure. Now, please go ahead with the discussion, and you will find here, be very frank in acknowledging the limitations. Can you see here, the paper seems to be smaller, while the limitations are summed up in a big appendix book here. Okay, so that is what I wanted to make a point here using this cartoon. So discuss how and why you obtained the results you did. Explain the outcomes and assess the findings of your investigation. How the results compared to other published reports is something that you definitely need to mention. Use references to support your statements. Avoid making any unsubstantiated claims or interpretations. One common mistake we do is, restating the commercial results in our, your numerical results in your discussion. Please don't do that. Present a clear interpretation of the study results, but you can also demonstrate familiarity with the body of knowledge published on this subject. This we already discussed, that it can correlate to earlier information that has been already published or has been there on the list. Obviously, we have discussed what the introduction typically has. This is more like asking what you did, why you did, which were the specific questions or issues you addressed, and of course, carefully selecting references to support those statements. What is an abstract? I wanted you to see this painting to understand this is what your research mentor says, and this is what you end up doing. That the picture says it all. That this is how the abstract looks like. But an abstract will actually have, the title page will actually have the title of the article, the names of the authors, their highest academic degrees, their affiliation, their contact details, and of course, their source of funding, and the information of the corresponding author. So if you didn't know that, it would just be good to see how a research paper actually looks like. References, it is the ethical duty for you to put your work in a proper context of science, and you must give proper attribution to any idea or results that you have used. Now, some journals limit the number of references, especially for letters, and references therein is a good trick here. Okay, so you have to understand that don't write references at the end of it. You just write references as you are typing your text. You can just take a simple program like Mendeley, and you can put it in your Word file. You can embed it, and as soon as you take an article, as soon as you take a sentence from that paper, it will immediately insert the reference in your text at the back. Okay, so there are many such free softwares that are available, which are easily accessible by students, which can help you get authentic references, and you don't have to end up typing or copy pasting those references. Okay, so that becomes a very, very important attribute here. Okay, so can you see this cartoon that where you have taken the reference from? The original source is very important for you to quote unquote, not just to make your research guide happy, but also as a standard practice. The next important criteria that you may ask is which is the journal that you want to publish. And you see here, there is a list of possible journal options that are available. What's important is look for a journal which publishes your kind of work, whether it's national or international. Look first for the kind of topic that you have for a suitable journal where you can actually publish that particular data. Okay, so when you give that journal the kind of study that you have carried out and the journal specializes in that domain, then obviously your article will find a better consideration rather than going to a non-specific desk. Yes, now responding to reviewers. Don't get frustrated. They are not trying to point out the mistakes or tell you that the experiments were done 6 months back and now you can't do anything about them. Please don't get angry or frustrated. These are basically based on the reviews. They could be rare, they could be minor revisions, they could be major revisions, or they could be rejects. Many a times when one paper rejects, they will outline the reasons of rejection. If you work out on these reasons or the rationale, you may be able to publish your data in another research journal. So please do not get frustrated when you get a rejection. Now this may go on for several rounds. Okay, so please kind of bear with them for the speed. And when you submit a revised manuscript, you need to include a letter that lists all the changes. Now, of course, you have trackers which can actually help you track all the changes and responds to the comments of the reviewers. So if the reviewers had made some specific comments, you need to include that now in your cover letter so that they know that you have made those amends and specific consideration has been given or due consideration has been given to the reviewers' remarks. Okay, now each author should have contributed to the work and they should take responsibility of a specific part of the work. When I work with my collaborators, when I work with my team, so there is somebody who looks at all the grammatical mistakes. There is somebody who does, all the graphs and, all the figures that are there. There is somebody who ensures that all the references have been duly cited. So we work like this, okay? So a specific part of the paper is looked at by each individual who is part of the team. The language has to be very objective, very precise, and clear. Now, what is objectivity versus precision? Any claim that you make needs to be based on facts, not on intuition or emotion. So this is objectivity. Okay, I repeat, any claims that you need to be making should be based on facts and not on intuition or emotion. I don't feel like that. What do your results indicate is what you need to clarify. Ambiguities in writing cause confusion and may prevent a reader from grasping crucial aspects of the methodology and synthesis. So there is a difference between objectivity and precision. And I want you to understand that. Okay. Now, words that indicate a lack of precision in scientific writing, I would say these are words that don't include, okay, that don't make this mistake. Don't use these words. So how you have do's and don'ts of what to do and what not to do. So don't use these words. Typically, generally, commonly, probably, the majority of. What is the meaning of the majority of? Okay, a number of. Can you give me a specific number? Did 50% say yes or no? You can't say majority of them said no. Now, what is a majority? So what is the majority that you're defining? Several, many, the main idea, frequently we have encountered, often. Try to use these very, very little because they indicate a lack of precision. So I would say put it in your don'ts list. Okay, don't include these words. What is precision? Researchers have found that experiments with crops under reduced lighting require a considerable amount of time because the seeds germinate so slowly. Now look at this statement. If you look at this statement, I would now want you to look at this statement, which is second given here. Johnson and Brown, 2003, have found that experiments with tomatoes and carrots in 50% and 75% light-deprived environments require 12 to 16 weeks instead of 7 to 8 weeks because the seeds take twice as long to germinate. Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? Yes, I was hoping that you will be able to identify that this is more precise. That what have they done in their experiment? What percentage of light deprivation for both the plants? And what has been the measurable output in terms of how much time it takes for the seeds to germinate? So that is a very, very important criteria. Okay. Now, please understand there is no shortcut to writing a paper. There is no way that somebody, is going to say that, okay, this is how we can write the paper and get over it. No. You write a paper, and when you write a paper, there are a lot of learnings that you are going to undergo in terms of your own understanding of the results that you have obtained, the methods that you have used, or the protocol that you have designed. So please believe me, there is no shortcut. What is the take-home message that I want you to understand here after these 2 days that we have discussed? Starting with goal setting, critical thinking, how to read a research paper, how to write a research paper. Minimize the time, memory, and energy. Okay? Minimize the time, the memory, and energy needed for reading while keeping your reader's attention and motivation high. Okay? So you need to minimize the time, memory, and energy, but keep the reader's attention high and motivation also high. Now, these are the sources that I used for my presentation. And a lot of these, the slide deck has been shared by Dr. Archana Bhatnagar from Punjab University. She's a very, very distinguished professor. So, a lot of times we, refer to each other's slide decks because they're important or valuable resources. And I'm sharing these as references for you to understand that even for all my slides, I have maintained their, affiliation or the copyright there, so that in case you want to go back to any of the slide deck and refer to it, you're free to do so. And I do not want to stake claim that all these slides were mine. So thank you very much.